Alright guys, well it's been a whole year since I installed this 27 panel system here. So I'm finally coming around to making my 1 year review video, and I've got a lot to talk about, but I'll try to make it as short and sweet as possible. I'm going to kind of go over some of the construction, what I did, the system install overview, going to go over some of the maintenance items and any problems I've had. Then I'm going to look at the app on the phone, the Enphase app that's really great to use, and then look at the website and account where it shows all of the power that's been generated. And then I've got a spreadsheet where we'll go over the amount of power that I've generated versus what was estimated on PV watts, and then also my kind of overall cost of the system and how quick it's going to get itself paid off here. So stay tuned and we'll move right through it. Okay, so just a real quick overview if you hadn't watched the installation video yet. This is a 27 panel system. It's got 3 strings of 9 panels each. Each panel is a Mission Solar 310 watt panel for a total of about 8.37 kilowatts. And I mounted it on my homemade wood racking system here. And the inverters are Enphase IQ7 micro inverters, so there's an inverter for each panel. Now I know that Enphase now has newer IQ8s, but these have worked good for me here. That's one of the inverters, one of the 27. So all these 3 strings combine, and Q cable leads down over into that box and comes down into my IQ combiner box. And we've got the 1, 2, and 3 strings, and then that's the power for the Envoy. So everything's been working good there. So I guess I'll kind of go over some of the maintenance items. I have not had any issues with this system running for the last year. Kind of got a list of things I wanted to bring up. I've got, no issues, no repairs made, no warranty claims, no anything like that, no service required on anything. It's just been working every day that it could. There was a week or so where we had an internet outage here, and so I was not getting information uploaded to the Enphase cloud or the Enlighten system. So I was missing data during those 6 days, and I was a little nervous that that data would never, get uploaded and count towards my yearly total of power. I thought, I was still generating power, and I just couldn't see how much I was generating online, but it was still making power, and I could tell by looking at my utility bill or the website of my utility company that I was still sending power back. So I knew everything was working fine. I just didn't know how much it was doing. And then it turned out when our power came back on, it took maybe a half hour to an hour, and the Envoy system uploaded all that information to Enlighten. So it lasted at least 6 days and saved 6 days worth of data in that little Envoy computer, and then uploaded it when it got internet service back. So I thought that was really great because 6 days of power, I didn't want to lose how much power this system, generates over its lifetime. So that was good to keep that ball rolling. And, the internet's been out a few other times where I got a new router and things like that, and it always still saves the information and uploads it later. So I think that's a really good feature. In terms of shutting off the power, I've had to a couple times. I put a new outlet in the garage, and we've had a power outage here or there. Whenever I shut this system off, there's no problems turning it back on. So I shut off. I pull the disconnect switch, or I shut off power to the panel, so there's no power coming to the inverters to make the inverters send power back to the grid. I do my work, I turn the power back on, you know, within a couple minutes, all these inverters start blinking green like they're supposed to, and everything works fine. There's no, you know, messing with the Envoy, there's no nothing, it's just off and on switch, easy. And we've also had, you know, lightning storms where power is flickered. The reason I had to replace my router is because it got struck by lightning, if you want to say that, and the router stopped working, our printer stopped working, a couple things like that, and I had no issues with any of this system. So it's been working flawlessly. And you know, it seems to have a strong Wi-Fi connection. It's here on the back side of this metal building, so it doesn't have the best reception towards the house, but I put a repeater on the other side of this building and it gets service just fine. It's only got 1 bar back here, like on my phone, if on Wi-Fi, but you know, there's not a whole lot of data going through that thing, so it seems to be fine. You don't need the strongest connection out here to make it work. So I just wanted to hit a couple of the things that I would change on this system. Number one thing, if you saw the video of the installation, you saw that all of these posts are embedded in concrete. And unfortunately, I ordered, I don't know, 4.5 or 5 cubic yards for all the holes I had dug, and it wasn't enough. So all of these posts, the concrete is down, you know, 4 or 5 inches from there. And when it rains, you know, I know water is going through this gravel and into the soil, and it's going around that concrete, and it's gonna be around that post. So, you know, the number one thing I wish I could have done was ordered more concrete so that concrete would be flush with the top here, and I could have sloped it away from these posts so any water, or a majority of the water, would slope away from these posts and not into the concrete and the edge of the post. So that's number one. People always talked about using mechanical type anchors that you embed in the concrete and bolt these posts to. You know, that would have been fine too. You know, however you want to make that connection is fine, but that's my biggest regret, I guess I'd say. Second thing, somebody mentioned, and I thought it was a pretty good idea, that for these rafters, I guess they make some sort of plastic cap or something that would fit over the edge of this and, you know, come down a little bit on this side and a little bit on that side, and it would be a strip, and you could cut them to length. So these would be about 16 feet long, and it would fit like a U cap over top of this rafter. And that would protect it from water. I don't know if you can see there, but see how that's a little green along that top edge there? It's a little bit darker there than it is down here. You can kind of see that there. And, you know, would that have helped? I don't know. You know, there's not a lot of places where those can get wet, but I'm sure the top of that is getting somewhat wet. And maybe it's possible that that plastic piece would help that rafter last longer. I still think it'll last a long time as it is, but, you know, if that made it last longer, then that'd be great. Doesn't sound like it'd be too expensive. Otherwise, all my supports are holding up good. I was happy I put all these intermediate stiffeners in. You know, same with back there, there's an intermediate stiffener in between the X bracing. It's sturdy. We've had some big storms. It's nice to store, as you can see, all the items I've got underneath here. So yeah, I've been really happy. I guess the other thing that really doesn't have anything to do with the solar installation is when I laid this gravel here, I was lazy and I did not roll out fabric. So there's often weeds and whatnot that I spray in here more than I like to. So I wish I would have put fabric down. And lastly, there's a couple bird's nests that I've developed up in the top up there. You know, they're not really bothering anything, but that is kind of annoying. There's one up there. Maybe I need to get a fake owl or something to scare them away. All right, let's go ahead and look at this app here. I'm on cellular data right now, so I could be doing this anywhere. Here's the app home screen. It shows that the system's normal. It shows that it's got Wi-Fi connection. Shows today's date. And then you can see here, that is the power that we've generated so far today, 32.1. 17.7 is the 28th. That's how much power we made yesterday. And then over here, the 48.6, that was last year, 2019, this same day. How much power did we generate? So it shows up here the latest power we've done. You know, the last reading it sent was 1.5 kilowatts, and today the peak power was 5.8 kilowatts. It also tells you the weather up here, you know, that it's sunny and 88. So then you can click this energy button, and this gives you a graph that I really like that shows the power throughout the day. So again, that was today, yesterday, and last year. So you can turn either of these on. So if you hit this button, that shows last year. So that's the curve that it had last year. Okay, then if you click, you've got these two turned on. This, all the bars there is the power we've created today. And that line is the power we created yesterday. So yesterday was pretty rainy and all that, so you can see it was a bad day. Today it was rainy in the morning, then it got sunny in the afternoon, so it was a little bit better day. So that shows you, you know, day by day, and you can click this and change the date and see, you know, each day and the day prior. So like there was a really good day and the day prior was good. There was a good day and the day prior was cloudy and sunny. So that's pretty neat. You can also click this and see it by the week. So, you know, the week of the 24th through the 30th, that's your power per day generated. And that line is last year. And then you can also do it by the month. You can do it by the year, and then lifetime. And here you'll get the sneak peek of where you can see that the lifetime solar produced was 11.3 kilowatt hours this last year. And it divides it out by how much was in 2019 and how much was in 2020. So, there's also a way you can click your array and see, you know, here each panel, how much power they've produced today. And again, you can change it, you know, that's lifetime, so you can do a day or month or year. So you can look at today and just make sure that none of your panels are, you know, performing badly. They're all the same color, so that means they all produced about the same amount of power. It also says on there how much they produced, how many kilowatt hours, so you can make sure if one's, you know, performing badly or getting more shade than the others. And there's also a menu here where you can go and change some site details, get some reports, and you can also click on your devices and make sure all 27 of your microinverters are working properly, and that your Envoy, you know, last time it sent information. So you can pretty much do everything you need to just with your phone here. And it's really nice, and it's almost addicting to check this day by day to see how much power you're generating. So that's awesome. Good job here on the app Enphase. And now we'll go onto the computer and show you what that website looks like. Okay, so here is the Enphase website. When you log in, this is the Enphase Enlighten Manager. And it starts off here showing you a display of your array, and you can draw this in whatever fashion you want. If you've got it on your roof and two roofs, you can make it 3D and show both sides, but mine's just a straight, easy array. And it shows you, again, the same thing I had on the phone, all of the panels for today and how much each one generated. So I've got a little eave of that building right here that blocks the sun in the morning for a little bit on these two panels. So they're always a little bit less, but otherwise they're all pretty consistent. You can change this to see, you know, month to date or lifetime, and you can see all the panels are pretty close. That one's a little low, that one's a little low, but you know, they're all in the ballpark here. So next thing you can do is you can also go to a graph, and you can look at today. That's the energy produced. You can go to today power, and that shows a a graph of, look at that, it shows 5 o'clock, 4:45, 4:30. That's the instantaneous power at each one of those times there. So you can kind of see when it's cloudy and rainy in the morning and gets sunny. This is nice, but I prefer the one on the phone. I think it looks better, and you can also overlay yesterday's on top of it. Whereas here, if you do power for the past 7 days, it shows it like that, which you can see, but I like when it lays this day over top of this day. I think that's pretty neat. And you can also do the bar chart of like energy month to date. So that's just day by day. You produced 45. Estimated was you were supposed to produce 42.7. So that was a good day. And you can look here, day by day throughout the month, or you can do custom ranges or year to date. Let's see what year to date does. Yeah, that shows every day on there. So, from January to August, here we are. And you can do custom ranges for whatever you want. This is a nice little sidebar here. It has the power today, has the past 7 days total, has the month to date versus what's estimated. It has the lifetime power here, my 11.34 versus what was estimated, and the last voltage output that it had. You can click here for status. It shows that your equipment's operating normally. You can go to reports. This is helpful if you wanted to do, sometimes I'll do this energy production report. You can do it by date. This monthly one is easy, so you can just click by August, submit, and boom, it shows you every week how much power you made, and your August totals, your previous month total, your year to date and lifetime. Devices, this is where you can go and check to make sure every device is operating normally. If not, you can find out which one it is. This shows your production meter and your Envoy. You can go in here and change some settings if you need to. It shows it's connected by Wi-Fi. I don't really use this events tab. I don't know what's here. This, I think, is something to do with your array builder. And then here in the settings is where you'll go and you'll type in all your information. And this is where you build your array. And the neat thing about this is you've got array details. So this is where you put in the tilt, the azimuth angle, the model of solar panel that you have, and then you use PV watts to calculate all your estimated power. So they use a standard 15% approximate efficiency, and I put 0 in here for system losses, and here it calculates out per month what should the energy be estimated per PV watts. And that's where it gets the information for, on the previous screen that shows what it was estimated. So this is all really nice, really helpful. I go to this website, pretty often. I like the phone better for seeing, the daily power and things, but this is also good to get more information about lifetime or maybe check some reports. So that's everything with the Enphase phone app and website. So let's move on to the solar power by month. So this is my spreadsheet here. And since I had it for partial time of 19 and partial time of 20, I had to separate it out here. But you can see this information from PV watts is the same information that we just looked at here in these settings. So if I go down in array details, so these numbers here were copied into the spreadsheet. So this is the estimated PV watts power, and this was actual. In 2019, I actually made, in September, 104% of what they estimated. Then in October, I made 84% of what was estimated, 89, 80, 79 by month. This goes into 2020. We had a pretty bad January, only made 62% of the estimated, and, pretty good June and July, getting 95% of what they estimated. So this all boils down to, for 2019, I made 90% of what was estimated, and for 2020, I made 85% of what was estimated. overall lifetime for this last year, I should have made 12,934 kilowatt hours, and I made 11,180, which is 86%. So that's a good baseline if you're going to use the PV watts calculator. What percentage might you use? If you look back at my design video about designing a system for your home, I talked about using 75% efficient. So again, that just gives you a little bit of buffer zone there when you're figuring your cost and the cost of the system over the lifetime. So feel free to use whatever percentage you want, but when figuring cost of things, I usually like to stay a little bit more conservative. So speaking of cost, this is the sheet of all the materials that I had ordered and all the costs of everything. So I had some miscellaneous materials and things from Solaris. Here was the big chunk of money. That was the IQ7, the 27 inverters, the panels, the combiner box, and some other cabling. There was another big one that was all of the lumber and miscellaneous materials I had for my racking, some wire, anything in green here is something I returned. There was a concrete I had to buy, some rock. So that's everything. And I paid Tandem Solar to make me a line diagram, and I think I paid them like $200. And then I made one myself, and they'd only give me $100 back. So I thought that was kind of bold, but anyway. So that was my total purchases there. I installed it myself, so I've got zero. That was the permit cost from the county. So my total system cost was $13,302. I got a 30% federal tax rebate because I did it in 2019. So that makes my overall out-of-pocket $9,000, $9,050 for my 8.37 kilowatt system. So here is the cost of energy for my utility provider per kilowatt hour. And so here, this is the actual average monthly kilowatt hours I produced. So I took, that note is wrong there, not 12,934. If you look at this, I took my 11.34 megawatts I generated in the last year, divided it by 1,000, and divided it by 12 months. So I made 945 kilowatts on average per month. So multiplying the 945 times 0.12 gets me to a monthly value of $113.40 a month. And I'm putting my efficiency factor now at 100 because that's actual. If I was estimating, I'd lower that down or something, but I actually made that many, so I don't have any efficiency. I'm at 100% efficient. So that's how much I make per year, or how much power this system generated per year in dollars versus buying it from my utility company. So then I take my total out-of-pocket cost divided by the yearly value, and it basically says it's going to take 6.7 years at this rate to pay off the system. Then the system's going to last, I assume, 20 years. It's got a 25-year warranty, but let's say it lasts 20 years. That means after my 6.7 years of payoff, I'll have another 13.3 years remaining of these generating power when they're already all paid off. So that 13.3 times $1,300 a year makes it $18,000 is how much money I will save after the system is paid off over the lifetime of the system. So that's great. That's why I would encourage anybody to get a solar system and install it yourself, because you can pretty quickly pay somebody else $10,000, $15,000 to install this for you, and then you only make $3,000. So what's the point of that? Now, another thing to think of is this right here was this year. I generated this much this year. Next year I could generate a whole bunch more power. I mean, maybe it'll be way sunnier. But you also got to think that over the 20-year life of these panels, they may degrade a little bit. And next year or 5 years from now, they may not be as efficient as they are now because of breakdown of the panel. So in that case then, if you want to say that, At the end of the 20 years, they're going to be 80% efficient. Now they're 100% efficient. So let's average and say over a 20-year life, they're going to be 90% efficient. So if I make that 90, it's going to change all these numbers, and now it's going to say it's going to take me 7.5 years to pay it off. So I'll only get 12.5 years of use after it's paid off. So that means I'm going to save $15,000 now instead of the $18,000 it was before. So still good chunk of change, and that's why I would recommend installing the system yourself. You can maintain it, you know how it works, you don't have to call anybody if there's any issues or problems, and you've also learned something and you've saved some money. So if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to send me a message or post in the comments. I'd be happy to reach out and give you my contact information. I've helped a couple other people out that saw my installation video, so make sure to check out the design and permitting video to get an idea of how to design your system. Then take a look at the installation video and get yourself prepared to design and order your materials and get your system set up, and then see how much money you're going to save in a year or two. And I appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll have more videos dealing with my solar system, and also other videos that deal with equipment and maintenance and other odds and ends that I like to get into here. So thanks again for watching.